Okay, there we go. If you're familiar with with Project Sinai, the way I started Project Sinai a number of years ago, and the idea behind Project Sinai was to create a platform for educators in the Jewish world to be able to connect with more consistency and more frequency and in a more sophisticated way with their constituents. And we kind of built that from the ground up, and it was probably, I would say, for certain, we were the first in the world of online Jewish education to do something as sophisticated as Project Sinai. But what was unique about it was that for the most part it was focused. We were focusing more on live interactive classes. So presenters would create a class. They'd have a channel where they could actually set up their own classes, and they would then market those classes to their constituents. And again, you know, we would aggregate, or we would display some of those classes on our main Project Sinai website to attract other participants. And there was a lot of, you know, we've actually had thousands of students participating in classes through Project Sinai. Having said that, over the years, working with different kinds of educators and in kind of many different facets of Jewish education, and also working or getting feedback from literally thousands of students that have participated in events on Project Sinai, I kind of took that information and I got a very, very good sense of what was working, what wasn't working, how to create an effective class online, the best way to present content online, what was working in a live situation, what worked better as archive content, etc. And what I found, certainly one thing that was clear is that, you know, when you're in an environment and you're teaching online, especially if you're used to, as a teacher, you're used to being in front of a live class, it's a very, very different experience being online. And many educators, many teachers that were great, very, very comfortable, you know, a great teacher, an amazing presenter, and someone who is very comfortable in a live audience in front of a live class or a live group, it was a very, very different experience for them to get used to staring at a computer and teaching basically people that are out there in cyberspace who they don't actually see. So, so what that means is that really to make it an impactful experience, you have to create your content in a way where it's what I would call immersive and it's interactive as possible, to kind of get students involved and get them participating in the content. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to go into too much in you know, more detail in terms of the background of Project Sinai, but Project Sinai, the one thing I will say is Project Sinai was geared more toward live classes. And what we've done is we've created with JUniversity what we call a hybrid, so to speak, of really archived course-oriented content and live classes as well. So I'm going to just share my screen here. Give me 1 second. Let's share my screen. Okay, so just I guess everybody can see my screen, and I'm going to kind of go through and kind of show you some of the features and functionality in Project Sinai. And as we go, maybe we'll stop periodically and I can focus on some of the questions you might have. So if you want to just kind of hold those questions for the time being, we'll get to them as soon as I'll get to them as soon as I can. So what you're looking at here is the main front page, the home page of JUniversity. And you can see as we scroll down here, we're seeing some of the content, some of the courses that we're offering. And I want to kind of make one statement, which is that much of the content here is what you're seeing here on the page here in terms of these courses. These are obviously live, they're accessible to the public. anybody can come to the website and sign up for these classes. But we were also, as we were building this and designing it and testing it, we've created many what we call hidden classes. So if you're a teacher who is presenting a certain content to a specific audience, and it's not something that's appropriate for a public audience, let's say you're following up on a Israel trip, or you want to teach a particular class to a certain group of your students, but you don't want to make it accessible to everyone, we can set it up as what we call a hidden course or a hidden class, where only those people that receive a link to that class can attend. So what you're seeing here is a series of classes. And of course, if I'm in as a student, for example, I can just click on, any course, and I've actually signed up for this course and started it. So this button here says resume course. If I was new to this, it would obviously say enroll. This is a typical landing page that you would see, where we have the title of the course, the teacher of the course. In this case, we have a video here where you can watch a little intro video to find out more about the course. There's a description of the course, some information on the presenter, and we can see the course curriculum here. And of course, if I'm signed in, I can just click on any one of these right from the landing page and go right to that part of the course. So that's basically what a typical landing page looks like. If I click here to resume this course, it's going to take me into this classroom interface. And what you're seeing here is essentially the classroom, or what we call the course player, that all students will see when they take a class or a course on JUniversity. This left column is there's some general information there, obviously the name of the course, the lessons in the course. You can click there. You can click here to see your achievements and progress. So this will tell you how much of the course you've completed. I haven't completed that much, obviously. How far along I am. There's a discussion forum here where people can actually click and answer a question. Somebody posted a question here, and nobody answered it. So, but again, I could just go in and type an answer to that question, and as a teacher, I'd get a notification that somebody answered a question. So this is a great way to just start a discussion thread. It's always there in the course. It's a general discussion thread for the course, and it's a way to, again, kind of create a little more of an immersive experience for the students. So I'm going to just go back here. Also, if I click at the top to my dashboard, this shows me as a student, my student dashboard, and whatever courses I've signed up for, and how much I've completed. And of course, I can click right here to resume that particular course. So really what I want to show you is what's involved in terms of setting up a course, how complicated it is, how simple it is, and how the interface works and the kinds of things that you can do. So because I'm logged in here as an admin at the moment, I'm seeing this little message at the top of the screen that says return to your dashboard. I'm going to do that, and that's going to bring me to a page which lists a number of courses that I've created or I'm able to administer. And I'm going to just take a quick break here. I'm going to go just pop out of my screen share for a second. And if you have any questions about what we've seen so far, or you have any specific things that you care to see or want to see, let me know. Do we have any questions at this point? Looks good so far. Okay, thanks, Hannah. Okay, so I'm going to move right along here. Let me just share my screen again. Come right back here, and here we are. So what we're looking at here is just a listing of, again, of all these different courses that I've been involved in one way or the other. I'm going to, first I'm going to show you, give you an example of how the content works, how you set up content, and what that could look like. I'm just going to respond here. If you give me 1 second. There's a few people here that we're trying to get in, and 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to respond to, just do a quick response here to this email. I apologize for the confusion getting this going this morning. Okay, great. So here we are. This is our list of our classes and our courses. So what I want to do first is I want to show you an example. I'm going to just click over here. Here's something that I started creating on, called the objective reality and the ethics of the ethics of morality. And again, to create a course, I'm going to jump first right into the curriculum just to show you the actual player and how we create the content. So right down here as an admin, when I'm creating a course, I can see a list of the classes and the sections within those. Each lesson here is section 1, section 2, and the different pieces of content that I want to create. And the way this works is really all I have to do when I go into each section. If I want to add a piece of content, I simply do that, click add content, and I have a whole host of different types of content I can add. I can add a video, a quiz, multimedia content, text, a survey, PDF. I can actually, we've hooked this up to discuss, so you can actually create a discussion forum as a piece of content within a lesson. You can, if you have MP3s or audio that you want to include, any content that you want students to be able to download, you can upload a presentation. That could be a PowerPoint, that could be a series of PDF slides. And actually right in the interface, if you have let's say a series of slides, you want to record audio over those slides, you can actually do that right in our JUniversity interface here. So you don't have to use any kind of third-party tools. Very, very simple to do. We've even incorporated an exam module where we've hooked it actually up to something called Brillium, which gives us the ability to do very, very sophisticated, from very simple to very, very sophisticated exams and tests. Let's see here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you, go back here and create a new course and just show you how easy this is. I'm going to create a course. We're going to call it All About Hummus. I actually am known for my hummus recipe, so I'm very into hummus. So we're going to create a course called All About Hummus. And when I do that, it instantly takes me to this default landing page where, and again, this is the page that people landed on that you saw at the top. We've got a couple of questions here. What do we got here? Can it handle Google Drive slides? Do you share the hummus recipe? Okay, good question. I can't share my hummus recipe because it's a secret recipe. Can it handle Google Drive slides? So it can pretty much handle anything. I haven't actually imported. Basically what it does when you're using slides is it effectively converts them to a PDF. So you have a static PDF, and you can add audio over the over the PDF. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, so basically here we have a default landing page. We're gonna make this a little more interesting. I can add a banner image. So let's just upload. Let's see what we got here. Here's an image from my desktop. I'm going to choose that, upload that image, and so now you see I have this hummus image in the background. I can actually change the percentage of the overlay. Let's make that 50% so we can see a little more hummus coming through there. I have a default presenter attached to this course, which is Elmo. He's one of my favorite presenters. And again, here I can change this information. I can edit this instructor information. Again, if I have instructors that I've already set up in my admin section, I can just easily access them, click on them, and it will populate this information on the page. So the next section will display course contents. Obviously, we don't have any contents yet, and course curriculum. And as you see, as I roll down here, I can easily just adjust, make changes to this information right from here. If I want to add a video or change the description of the course, I can do that here as well. I can also do it, from this, if I click on this landing page link as well. So you see here, that gives me that information. So we're going to leave it this as is for now. I can also add pricing information in there. I'll show you that works in a second. And again, if I can at any point go in and just preview this course landing page or as a student, just to see what that experience will look like for an end user. And the reason now we're not seeing our banner in the image in there is because I didn't save it. So let's drop that in there again and hit save. How's that? Let's do that again. Make that 50%. Then we're going to hit save. It says I've successfully saved it. And again, I can preview this landing page. And there it is. So that's what that looks like. So now I'm going to go back to my dashboard here and my courses. And I should have somewhere in there. There it is there, all about hummus. There's my course. I can click to edit it. And the course, there again are different options that I can work on here. Let's just jump right into the curriculum. We're going to add some content. So the way this works is we have content set up like, think of it as chapters of a book, where your chapter is your section heading or your lesson. And then the content underneath that is all the content that applies to that particular lesson or chapter. So I'm going to add a chapter. We're going to call it, what should we call it? Let's call it Hummus Intro. Save those changes. So now we have a lesson called Hummus Intro. We're going to add some content. So again, one of the things that I mentioned when we began is this idea of trying to make the experience for the end user as immersive and interactive as possible. So again, if you're dealing with content that is obviously what we call evergreen content, in other words, you're creating a course, it's available 24/7 to the end student, to the end user, they can click on at any point and sign up and start this course. You want to take it out of the realm of just, for example, watching a YouTube video where they're sitting watching you just do a presentation, and you want to kind of make it as immersive and as educational as possible. So, so the way we're going to do that is we're going to start with a quiz. And we're going to call that quiz, what do do you know about hummus? Okay, that's the name of our quiz. And we're going to add a question. And the first question is, where did hummus originate? Okay, so first of all, does anybody know where hummus originated? If you do, you can help me out here. I think it was the Middle East. So we're gonna keep it pretty generic here. So that's our question, and we're going to add a choice. Again, we're going to make this a multiple choice quiz. We're going to say Texas as one choice. We're going to say New York. We're going to maybe add another choice. How about Amsterdam? For all those people from Amsterdam here. And we're going to add another, we're going to say the Middle East. And we're going to mark the Middle East as our correct answer. And we set this up so that there's only one correct answer. You see here, I can set this up so I could have one or more correct answers. I can even add an explanation for the correct answer. And you'll notice in all of these input boxes where you're inputting information into your course, in all of these fields, we have this banner up here, which gives you the ability to do a lot of customization to the actual information that you post. So I could add into this question an image. I could put a video in there. I could put a file. I could create a link to another page somewhere on the web. There's a lot of functionality that you can add to make these really more, as interesting as you want. So once we have that set up, I'm going to save my changes, and we see here's now our hummus intro. That's the name of the lesson, and we have this bit of content here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to preview the course as a student, and you'll see we're going to select our first part of the lesson here, and there's our question. And if I can select any one of those answers, and if I select Amsterdam and I check that off, it's going to tell me that was wrong. The correct one shows up in green. I can retake the poll if I've set it up that way. Let's do this, check it, and next, and it tells me that I got 100% correct on my quiz. Any questions so far? And we'll move right along. Everybody's following everything okay? Can you do other types of questions? Great, good question. Yes, you can do, so you can, I'll show you, let's just go back here to our back end. So one of the things that we can do from a content, in a quiz, essentially you only have the ability to create a multiple choice question. If you do what's called a poll, I'm sorry, a survey, I'm going to click on that. We're going to add that. We're going to say, do you love hummus? We're going to save that, and we can add a question to that. So a survey gives you the ability to add a variety of different types of questions. You can see here, similar to a poll or quiz, it could be one or more answers. We can set this up as a rating. We could set it up on a scale. We can, in other words, put up a bunch of stars up there and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love hummus? We can also add a free text box here. So let's say, for example, now I want to call this, I want to add a free text box here. And my question is, which is more of a statement than a question, but tell us what you love about hummus. Okay, and I'm gonna just, for the heck of it, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna wanna make it nice and big, and I could change the color. I could set this as an optional question. We're going to save that now. We set it up as free text. So now when I go to our view as a student, and we go to our hummus intro section, here it is. That's our quiz that we started. Here's our survey question. So there's the question or the statement. Tell us what you love about hummus. And then here, oops, I'm sorry, do that. Oops, I don't want that yet. I'm going to pull that up later. We can just type in free text. I love the chickpeas. Okay. So, and I can save that. Obviously, the system is actually, this is actually a very, very important point. Everything that you answer, any input that comes from a student, whether it's in the form of a quiz or a survey, the system is tracking that information. So we can see, or you can see as an educator, you can go in and get a report that says, for example, Rick signed in and he started your course and he answered this question and this question, and this is what he answered. So you can actually track the responses of your students and see exactly how they're answering the questions. Rachel's asking, so you can't do a short answer question graded. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you can be a little more specific. I'm not sure I understand the question. So you can be a little more specific. Okay, let's see. Meaning a multiple choice question is graded correct or incorrect. So that's correct. How do you mean? In other words, when you do a multiple choice question, it's tracking the responses. So it'll tell if there's 5 questions or there's 6 questions and you got 3 correct, it'll tell you got 3 correct and you got 50% correct on that quiz. Does that answer your question? So to continue on here, I'm going to add another piece of content. Let's go back here. Let me just click out of this for a second. Okay, let's go back here. And I'm going to add another section. We're going to call it recipes. Did I spell recipes right? Wrong? Okay. Recipes. Okay, so, and I'm going to I want to add a link to some recipes online. So I'm going to create a multimedia link and great recipe. Okay. And I'm going to go over here. I had a link somewhere, right here. Okay, so this is a website called I Will Not Eat Oysters, which I don't eat. And they have this great recipe on this website, amazing pictures too, for hummus and tahina with a soft-boiled egg. Okay, great. So now, what I'm going to do is just grab this link from the top of the page, and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to just paste that link in, save the changes, and now I have that saved to the course. So now when I go in and I preview as a student again, there it is, right in my course player under the recipe section. And of course, I can see that whole page right here. There's my recipe. So you can just see how easy it is to pull in any kind of content imaginable And again, I can pull in videos. I can pull in from really from any source. If it's YouTube, Vimeo, you have other pages and other sites. If you have a PDF that you want to pull in, I'm going to show you by just stepping out of here for a second. I'm going to go back to my course builder. And I can actually switch courses right up here. And I'm going to show you, well, I'll show you something that a friend of mine in Israel, David Green, is working on. This is a course, or actually a seminar that he does for Birthright students, for Birthright participants in Israel, and we're turning it into an online course. It's something obviously that he does live, but this is now an online course. And there's a lot of content in here. I'm going to take you, here's the landing page. This landing page is set up a little different. Here's all the content. You can see the classes, each piece of content in class. There's a lot of stuff there. It's not quite finished yet, but will be soon. There's an intro video that you can watch by clicking here. And I'm going to just go back here to my dashboard. Oops, courses, my courses. Let's go back in there. So I'm going to show you how his content is laid out. So you can see if I click on curriculum, here's all the different pieces of content. For each section, he's got an intro. In fact, what I'll do is show you, just so you can experience it as a student and see what's there. Khan is asking a question, can you handle Hebrew characters in right to left formatting? Yes, we can. Okay, so here, as I come into this course as a student, and we've changed, you can actually change the look and the feel of the interface for the students a little bit. You know, the one you saw that I was working on for Hummus was pretty much all white. This is actually a darker gray and black background, and that's really just a personal preference. So here we have an intro for this section. I can click to the next piece of content. He's got a poll in here, sorry, a quiz. And going through here, another video.
Let's take a brief overview of some of the practical ways that self-awareness can improve our lives. Then we'll go into each one in more depth.
So that's an intro video. There's some information on sources. These are links to the web, to presenters, and I'm sorry, to where some of the content came from. And one of the things that he did here was interesting. He added a journal entry. So at the end of each section, the students can write some information based on what they've seen in that particular lesson or learned in that lesson. And again, of course, we're tracking that. One of the things that we're working on, which is kind of cool here, is the ability to be able to send a specific email to a student based on an automated email based on the type of response that they give. So again, as we go through here, each section has a video. Here's another survey question. Here's another video. So you see there's a lot of content in here. He's added a discussion board right in through Discuss, right in this particular lesson. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do here. Another journal entry in each section. So that's kind of the layout of the course. And what this is doing also, as you go through and you click the next button, it's tracking your progress. It tells you which part of the courses you finished, what you still have to do, and it will send you reminders telling you to come back if you need to get that finished. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of possibilities here. So I'm going to just take a break for 1 second. And if anybody has any questions, let me go back to my full screen here. We got a couple of questions in the Q&A section. I think Zev Khan was telling me how to spell recipes. So, right. So Zev is saying it's a lot of information for someone starting up. And the truth is, and I should consider creating a step-by-step manual. So the truth is, I'm giving you a lot of information here, just really kind of to show you what some of the possibilities are. The reality is that I've been working with a number of educators who have very little background, teaching online or haven't done something like this before, and they found it incredibly easy to set up the classes. It's pretty intuitive, and that's one of the things that we love about it. So let's see here. We have some more questions. Okay. Hannah says it looks doable. Okay, so Hannah was asking, is it pulling from the No Oyster website, or is it no? That's actually connecting directly to the website. There's a lot of interesting things that we've been playing with, and I'll show you. Just going to answer one other question here. Is the course content protected legally in some way from plagiarizing like copyright? It's actually a good question. So essentially, we as part of our user agreement, we're asking you to sign off on the fact that the content that you're using, you have rights to use. In some cases, obviously, there's if you're pulling something from a public content on YouTube, so that's YouTube. But essentially the content that you're creating, that you've developed, we're making the assumption based on the fact that you've told us that content belongs to you, and therefore there's no legal or copyright issue to deal with. Rachel asks, how do you know if a student just clicked through the course content and briefly skimmed it versus if they actually read it? Does the system assume that if they viewed a section of the course, then they actually read it? Meaning, let's say someone quickly clicks through all sections, they just skim it. Is it okay? So that's actually an excellent question. Rachel's asking, how do we know that if we actually want to be able to confirm that the student actually, did participate and watch the videos or read the material or whatever it is that they had to do, that they actually completed those sections. So it's not impossible, or it's not. Let's say it's not possible to know for certain, again, whether somebody watched from beginning to end the videos. There is something that we're working on implementing through the system, which will, give us some specific data on how long someone actually stayed on a video. But again, that doesn't mean that they put it in play. They didn't put it in play and went to Starbucks and had a coffee and came back when it was done. There's no way to really determine that. So the way we do it is within the context of the course. We'll add, again, that's a great way to implement quizzes or surveys where we're asking them to answer questions based on the content that they've just experienced, whether that's something they read or something they watched or something else. So that's really the best way to ensure that they've seen the content. And the other way to do it also, again, depending on the sophistication or how important that is to you, you can add an exam or a test at the end of a section or at the end of the course to determine whether they've watched, participated, and know that content. I'm going to get to paid courses in just a second, and I want to just show you one other thing here, and then we're gonna wrap up in the next few minutes. I'm going to go back to my course builder here, and I'm going to show you just an example of some other things that we've done in the context of these courses. So first of all, one of the things that I'm showing you here is obviously archived content. I'm going to show you an example of something here. Yoni Ganger, who runs the online not online, but the campus program for Maor at Harvard, he asked, they were taking some students to a conference in Brazil through Olami, and he asked if he could use the system to do live classes. The idea was there were 6 classes that they wanted students to participate in. And I'm going to just share my screen here and show you this for a second. 6 live classes that they wanted students to participate in before they went on this particular trip. So we said, sure, we can do it in our system. And if we look at the curriculum here, basically, I'm going to again preview this as a student. The way this works is each week for 6 weeks, every Sunday at noon, there was a live class. And you can see it here. What we did, we just iframed in Zoom, which is the same system that we're using here to do this webinar, where the students, you could have, in this context, up to 50 students live on the screen simultaneously. And that's what he did. He taught a live class. They came into this interface within the context of that class. Here we see all the 6 classes. Each one was a different presenter. And in this case, Rabbi Gershenfeld wanted to have some content, some source material. So there's content here for them to download. Rabbi Menachem Nissel, if you know, familiar with him, he does this every week. He puts up source material right in the interface so that the students can watch live. They can also look at the source material right here. They don't have to download it. It shows up right in the screen. That's another way that it could be used. I can show you that right now very quickly. Where is he? He is right here. So here's an example. Of how he does his class. So there you see his video. He's teaching live from Yerushalayim. In each of these sections, he's got source material that all pops up here. So you can see he's got a page of text here. We can zoom in, we can zoom out. There's all kinds of ways you can implement the content that way. The last thing I want to show you is, here's an example of a course that I set up for someone as a demo. I put this whole thing together probably in about 20 minutes. And so here, again, I'm looking at this as a player. We have a bunch of sections. This is how much do you know about Israel? Some quizzes. Oops, one sec, sorry. Some quizzes. There's a survey in here. Tell us how you feel when you think about Israel. How does it make you feel? Here's a picture section. And this is also through a multimedia link. I created this. This is done through Adobe Spark. And if you're not familiar with Adobe Spark, it's an amazing free tool to create really cool content, even videos as well. We've got some maps of Israel. Right, we can zoom in, we can look around. And those are just, that happens to be a link to a site. Here's another one which we've dropped in as a PDF. Do you see that? Another quiz, some history. So we got a bunch of videos. Here's a YouTube, a Vimeo video on the creation of the State of Israel.
May 14th, 1948, 4 p.m. Tel Aviv. On a small podium.
We've got another video from YouTube on the UN vote, some historical footage, some more historical footage of Israel, something on technology, and then this is actually interesting here, where I threw in a type form survey where we will now want to get people involved, in some way related to Israel. So you can apply right here in the interface. We're going to capture some information from them, academic background. I'm in business, my occupation. I can type in that information. Keep going. How to reach me by email. What days am I available? What's the best time to get a phone call? What interests me the most? Can I deal with pressure? Again, we can click on these things as we go through here and submit my application. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do if you just think about it and get creative to make this very, very immersive, to gather data, to capture information, and to engage your students. So I'm going to, I see there's a few more questions here. I'm going to stop the share. If you're from, have you used Typeform previously? That's actually what's great about the system, is it's very much a plug and play type of system where you have the ability to kind of utilize other platforms and other technology that's available, which really makes it great. So a couple more questions here. Monetizing classes. So I'm going to just deal with that, and then we'll wrap it up. Monetizing classes. So basically the way we've set this up, actually, I'm going to show you, let me just go back here very, very quickly to the screen here, and you can just see this very, very quickly. I forgot to deal with that directly. There's other options that we have for when we set up our course. We can drip content, meaning that if we've got a course and we want it to start at a particular time. In other words, we've created this course, but we don't want to actually we want to start it as a semester with all the students starting at the same time, or we've got a trip that we're running. We want them to participate in this content, but we don't want them to access it until 2 weeks before the trip. We can set up the course that way, and if we have 10 classes, we could actually schedule each class one to display every week for 10 weeks if we want this course to happen over 10 weeks. So there's some stuff you can do there in terms of how you display the content. Here is the pricing where we can set up the course obviously is free. That's where it defaults. A one-time payment, just put that a subscription payment based on a custom schedule, and even a payment plan. So the way this works, we have we now just starting with some presenters who are created content, which we're helping them develop. We're also helping, it's not just, the one thing that we're doing differently here from Project Sinai is we're not making this agnostic in the way Project Sinai was, where we're just giving you a channel, you can do your own thing. We want to have a little more connection to the content, meaning that we want to help you make the content, develop the content, give you the benefit of our expertise to be able to create good content. And again, stuff that we're looking for, stuff that's not just going to be accessible, anywhere. As I said before, this is not about just watching a YouTube video. It's about creating something that's engaging, a little different. So as an example, Rabbi Pinchas Winston, who's in Israel, created a course based on one of his books on the fundamentals of reincarnation, which is selling for $99. And he's already sold a few of those. We just put that up about a month ago. And so he's ecstatic because now he's creating more classes that he can charge for. And essentially the way we're doing that is we're taking a percentage depending on how we're involved in terms of the development of the content. And at this stage, it's essentially anywhere between 40 and 50% of the sale of the class. And that's basically how that works. So, and of course that you're not paying for the use of the platform. And we're also going to be engaging a variety of methods to market the content and drive traffic to the content. So that's how that works. If people are using the site to just create free classes, so that's a discussion that we can have with you. Generally speaking, we will be charging a certain amount, a minimal amount, if you're using the system, want to use the system in that context. But again, we're not making that available to just anybody. But that, again, depending on our involvement and how we're involved, that can be anywhere from, $50 a month to $300 a month. But that's, again, that model, really the model that we want to focus on is creating meaningful content and potentially being able to monetize some of that content so that you as an end user, as a teacher, can benefit from it financially. And obviously we can keep this going and running. Rachel asked how many students do we currently have. So again, through Project Sinai, we literally have many thousands of students. This new system is something that we kind of just did a soft launch with, literally like in the last month. So it's brand new, and we're kind of building. The goal now is to really focus on getting interesting content in there, getting dynamic teachers in there. We're reaching out to teachers. If you've got something you want to teach, and we can help you do that. We want to partner with you to do that. So it's JUniversity.co. That's the website. And somebody was asking for my contact information. That's just Rick at JUniversity. You can also go on the site, and there's a form there if you want to become a teacher, or anybody that you think could, has some great content that we can work with to develop some great courses with. You can just send us a note through there, tell us what you want to teach, and we'll get back to you, and hopefully we can work together and do some great things. So just make sure I got all the questions. Zev is asking one more question here. There's so much free content today. Does it make sense to charge people? I know there's certain big speakers who are charging for exclusive courses, but for most of us, we might lose our audience if we charge. So again, Zev, we're not. It really depends on the type of content. Rabbi Winston's an example of someone who sends out a regular weekly email. He's on Torah.org every week. He sends out content all the time. And people are signing up and paying for his course. So it's really a question of the type of content. Again, and what we're trying to do here is create some stuff that is not necessarily stuff that you're going to find anywhere, or it's not like watching a shiur online or watching a YouTube video. We want to make this more of an immersive experience. And also for organizations, there have been organizations like yours that have contacted us about hosting content for them that's specific for their audience. So that's something that we can do as well. And just close that out. So it's really there's a variety of ways that we can work together. A big part of obviously what we're doing, which is similar to what we did in Project Sinai, is our goal here is to reach people, inspire them, and that's what we're trying to do. So hopefully that answers your question. Somebody asked, can we set this up on our own set up our own courses for self-profit? So that's a good question. That was a little more of the model that we have with Project Sinai. That is not the model here. We're well, I shouldn't say it's not the model. You can pay a subscription to us to put up your own content, but again, we're not. Our goal here is not to just make this accessible to anyone where they can put up any content they want. We found that with Project Sinai, when we did that, and again, we had a lot of great speakers and a lot of great content on there, but there was a lot of content, for example, that educators or people were putting up, which was, I would say, more mediocre. And ultimately, what it does when it's on our site is it basically, people make the assumption that it's Project Sinai content. So here we want to be a little more sophisticated in how it dilutes the brand. Thank you, Hannah. So we want to be a little more sophisticated about how we're doing things and the kind of content that we're creating. And we have a bunch of really interesting things that we're developing now as content, which are not online yet. We hope in the coming next few weeks will be online. I'm reaching out to specific educators to help create some of that content. So that hopefully answers your question. If you have a specific question about something you want to do, you can certainly be in touch and we can see if we can work with you to help make it happen. So that's it. If there are no other specific questions, again, you can get in touch with me. You can visit the site, and we're starting to, as I say, we're starting to build the content now. We've got a lot of interesting stuff happening. But again, the goal here is to get some good stuff online, and we'd love to work with you, hear your thoughts, hear the kinds of things you're interested in doing, and see how we can help. So thanks again for joining. Is there a replay? We are going to record it. I'll probably post it, yes, into the course player on JUniversity for this webinar, and you'll probably be able to access it there. Thanks. I actually didn't get a chance to drink my tea, but I have my tea here, so I'm all cozy and trying to stay warm, and hopefully the weather will get better soon. So thanks to everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. I hope this was valuable and interesting, and if there's any way we can help you, let us know. Thanks.